It's time to reset. What is a brand? Can we talk about a nation as a brand? A brand is nothing more than the set of impressions that lives in people's heads. That is what a brand is. Nothing more. Your head, my head, everyone's head. Everything communicates. Everything you say, everything you don't say, everything you do, everything you don't do, everything that happens to you, and everything that does not happen to you, absolutely everything communicates. And I wish Mr. Samaras and Mr. Papandreou would have realized that. You can't have two kids bickering in front of the world. It communicates. It builds impressions. If it builds impressions, it builds brand. Very simple stuff. It's easy. It's not difficult. Branding is the process of managing impressions. Different game. Strong brands create strong and consistent impressions. It should be the ambition of every brand to be the protagonist of its category. Every brand. If I show you that image, what do you think of? Anybody thirsty? Sorry? Beer? A red can? Coca-Cola? What's the Coca-Cola of cigarettes? Sorry? Marlboro. What's the Marlboro of vodka? Who said Smirnoff? Who says Absolute? Hands? I'll go with Absolute. The Absolute of sports shoes. No, there's agreement there. The Nike of coffee shops. Starbucks? The Starbucks of small city cars. The Smart of beer. Bad? Heineken. The Heineken of computers. We'll leave Mr. Stichter out of that for a second. Apple, do we agree? All right. What's the apple of the Mediterranean? Can I hear you, please? Thank you. Sorry to disappoint you. By the way, I'm not saying that. That's the cover of Libération last week. That's the cover of Libération. One of the largest circulating French newspapers ran that with Greek characters. But yes, it is Greece, for God's sake. Let's fix it. Google. Google is in everybody's life, and I'm going to use Google as a bit of a brand barometer. Because on Google, people go and they search for things, and let's see what kind of results come up when they ask certain things of Google. First thing, Acropolis. 17.6 million results, if by the way in 0.24 seconds, remarkable. Ancient Greece, 15.7 million results. Mykonos, 3.35 million results in 0.19 seconds. Zorba, 29.5 million. Greece crisis, 62.1. Greece corruption, 24.4. Greece riots, 9.7. That's our image. That's our image. This is not scientific research, but it's pretty good indication, I can tell you that. That's it. That's what's sitting in people's heads. Those are the images, the pictures that accompany that. It's not pretty. Vanity Fair, I don't know who read that article. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's about Vatopedi and the scandals. This is how we're selling tourism. Against that beautiful backdrop, nice room to rent, good price. Special, frappe, only €8. Special, with ice. Very good. Problem. Stop selling tourism and start managing impressions. We've got to learn how to do this. We have to. We have to. We've got to manage our image out of this crisis. We've got to change the mindscape. We have to do it. It's not easy, but we have to do it. We've got to create different dots. And once we've created those dots, we've got to connect the dots to create a universally powerful, motivating, cohesive, consistent, and compelling narrative which guides behavior and shapes image. We have to do it. By the way, that's what branding is. It's connecting dots. We have to have all these thoughts that 11 million people have got, 11 million Greeks have got, about who we are, where we come from, where we are going, why we do what we do and how we do it, has to be connected. So it becomes 11 million people in community and not 11 million individuals all pulling in different directions, which we know is the characteristic of the society. It needs a common brand narrative. We need to tell the same story to each other and to our children so we all get it, the same story. By the way, we started telling stories over time. In 1986, there was a brilliant campaign, I'm Going Home to Greece, where there were foreigners, like Peter Ustinov saying, my parents came from the Ukraine, they immigrated to the US, I'm going home to Greece. There's a narrative, I get it. George Lois, by the way, is a Greek-American legend in advertising. I myself worked on something in 1991, 1993, chosen by the gods. The favorite line that I wrote was at the bottom there, thank God she left the light on. Let's not switch the light off. Let's not switch it off. The best narrative of all, and I saw you smiling when you saw those images in that video, was Athens 2004. It was brilliant. It connected the past with the present, with the future. It gave vision. It gave Greece a role in the modern world. We felt good. And what do? We convert the IBC, the International Business Center, into a shopping mall. We had the best broadcast center in the world. We converted it into a shopping mall so people can go broke buying Gucci. Crazy. Now, what a nation thinks and feels determines what the world thinks and feels. It's like an iceberg. People look at the top, but what the top looks like depends on what the bottom is all about. This is Greeks at the bottom, to Mr. Lambrinopoulos' point. And these things connect with each other. Because if I think that the world thinks that I'm silly, I feel silly. If I think that the world thinks I'm a crook, I kind of accept my role as a crook. These things are interconnected. The real work happens underneath the water. Because I remind you, everything communicates. I studied economics, shouldn't surprise you with a name like Ikonomidis, but I've learned that social psychology is what drives human behavior. Economics is simply the score. So I say screw economics. When people feel great, they do great things. We've got to feel great. We have to speak to Greeks, to the diaspora, to Philippines. We've got a lot of friends around the world. We've got to use diplomatic channels. We've certainly got to talk to the media. And we've got to use distributors of the travel product, of the investment product, of the come and live in Greece product, of every product. We need to work with these people to get the right image emerging at the top. Brand is community. We're not toothpaste. And community is brand. There's some new models happening around the world. Branding is no longer the role of the Minister of Culture in most countries in the world. It is a public-private partnership. It is usually under private sector leadership. It has corporate participation. It has community involvement. It's parea. It's not one guy who's going to save the world. It doesn't work like that. And I'm going to give you some examples. There's brand licensing as well. I did this work for Seychelles. It was done by a public-private corporation. Government bureaucracy cannot allow this kind of work to come out. It's too risky for them. DiscoverAmerica.com, the US is now going with a public-private cooperative. This is their website. Welcome to Brand USA, a public-private partnership with the mission of promoting increased international travel to the United States. The days of EOT and GNTO and that kind of stuff, doesn't work. Canada. Canada is harnessing the power of individual private corporations. Look at this video.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled, and I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. Diversity, not assimilation, and that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat, a Chesterfield is a coat, and it is pronounced Z, not Z-Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian.
Thank you. I would love to see some of our big brands doing this kind of work. I am Greek. We all are Greek. One of the most brilliant pieces of work is India. India involves everybody in what they're doing. This is a website where there are competitions, school competitions, competitions for designers, all sorts of stuff. Parea. This is something I am doing for our friends down in Cyprus. I'm rebranding the city of Limassol right now, and I'm doing it on Facebook. Facebook. Involving the whole city. Everybody's involved. That's where it should be. Back to Steve Jobs. He said, simple is harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. My biggest frustration as a branding guy is that every client of mine, because the work finally comes out looking simple, he thinks that he can do it himself. It's not like that. It's difficult to be simple. It's difficult. That is the most difficult thing in the world. By the way, something else, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. I feel that we have a tendency in this country to pay peanuts and we get monkeys doing work for us. Got to stop. We need the best. It's difficult work. In conclusion, we're living through defining moments in our history. I have absolutely no disillusion about that. These are defining moments. Our future is right now in our hands. Very important times. And I really do believe that image is the way out of this. It's part of the way out of this. We have to feel good about ourselves to do good things. And let's not forget something. It's a small moment in a long and glorious history. It's a small little point. That's all it is. History will look back and laugh at this. I know it's not funny right now, but it's going to be funny. Let's make it look funny at some point. Our future rests in our hands because we are Greeks. We have the power to imagine, and now it is time to imagine our future. And I want to read to you an excerpt from my blog. It says, Greece is on the verge of bankruptcy, but we are not a bankrupt nation. We are Greeks, people with the power to imagine, people with the intelligence to turn imagination into reality. We imagined democracy. We imagined the Acropolis. Now it's time to imagine the future. Thank you.